everybody. Welcome to our show today. It's Christmas Eve. Nothing sinister afoot here. Everything's as planned, and everything's going according to plan. We've got Matt in the back. Round of applause. Assuming you guys can hear me.
Yeah, I mean, we have.
Who's it gonna be? My brain's gonna explode. My brain's gonna explode. There's something sinister afoot. Absolutely.
I didn't know the stuff I said in the last stream, so I do apologize. But we got a busy show today that we're gonna have to get into quickly here. Couple things before we get going. Look at the Christmas sweater. Okay, take a peek at it. Won't see it for long. There you go. Christmas Eve, 80 degrees in Dallas, Texas. What better Christmas weather than 85 fucking degrees? Who knows? And it's humid outside. I mean, really great city that we live in. It's a fantastic place. We're live on Haymaker as well. The link to that channel is in my description. I highly encourage you guys to go.
My brain's gonna explode.
Subscribe. Okay, go over there.
There's something sinister afoot. Absolutely.
You've got pajamas with feet on them. That's your thing, not mine. Tons of stuff already over on the Haymaker channel. One, of course, you have my beautiful face over there, but interview series, Dirk was on there. A lot of Rangers guys. You guys, we keep hearing the intros looping. The music's too loud. Okay, I can't hear any of that, by the way. But the intro is on loop. No, you guys are just stuck in this with me permanently. Permanently stuck on the intro. Oh, that's fantastic. I also found out that the Haymaker that this is in audio form. As great as the audio is, it's on audio form over on Spotify and on iTunes. So there you go. I know you guys can't see me. Guys, I'm just going to be upfront and honest with you all. There's been a cyber attack. There's been a cyber attack on the studio, and we're trying to get to the bottom of who it was. I have my sneaking suspicions, but we're in the midst of it right now. And I just ask that you guys bear with me, and we band together and make it through this, okay?
Slightly, I don't want to assume anything in this scenario, but the last person that was in the studio with you was Nick. And he did walk out of here with a bit of a side eye.
Shit. That's true. We have a sneaking suspicion that Locked On might be sabotaging our whole program here. And we'll get to the bottom of it, and there will be retribution. That goes without being said. But I said it anyways. So anyways, yes, the show is on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So if you guys want this incredible audio format, go ahead over there. You guys have hit me up all the time about putting this on Spotify and iTunes, and I said I didn't want to do it because it was surprisingly a lot of work to put a podcast on Spotify, believe it or not. I've long said this is the hardest job in the world. And now it's there. So if you guys want to watch it there, please feel free to do so. And yeah, let's get right on into it. Okay, we got a lot to go over today. I asked for you guys' hot take over on Twitter. You guys gave me some hot takes, and they were incredible. And I'm excited to go over those. We also have this news right here that I'm interested in. I haven't really dove too deep into it, but Adam Silver, our beloved commissioner, honestly, Adam Silver's not absolved of any blame here for this potential cyber attack. We think he's on the short list of suspects. But we do have this news from Shams Charania stating that the NBA is in talks to find solutions to prevent tanking. Now, kind of, I guess, an unpopular opinion I have. I don't think tanking's really that bad, to be completely honest with you. I don't think it's as bad as people say it is. It's bad in every single sport. If you have any draft, right, if your league has a draft where the teams that finish with the worst records are either put into a lottery with heightened odds or are given the number one pick outright, it's going to emphasize losing for some of these teams, or at least not being uber competitive. It's going to be the case no matter what. Okay, like, of course, sometimes it gets bad in the NBA, but for some reason, and I don't know what it is, the NBA's problems are always under a magnifying glass and no one cares. Dude, like you're telling, I know NFL teams don't tank. That's the most popular thing people say. NFL teams don't tank because you'll die on the field. Dog, I got to go out there and watch who the fuck's playing quarterback for the Washington Commanders this week. Anyone know? Joe Johnson? He was an NBA player. And I got to watch him throw it in the dirt 25 times a game. Like, I'm sorry. You can't convince me that that they're above every other sport in the world. All right, but let's see. Sources said multiple ideas were proposed Friday as a brainstorming measure, including limiting pick protections to either top 4 or 14 and higher. Limiting pick protections to either top 4 or 14 and higher. So you can't do like a top 10 protected pick. I guess that would prevent teams that are making a play-in push but have like a top 10 protected pick to just shut it down. Or like the Jazz, for example, who currently have a top 7 pick and probably need to start losing games sooner rather than later. Okay, I guess that's kind of interesting. And that does I have a belief that you guys know I've shared it before. There's going to be a team that tanks a playing game at some point. It's going to happen. And it might have already happened, but it's going to happen. And I guess that could prevent that. No longer allowing a team to draft in the top 4 2 years in a row. So out of all of the possible solutions, and by the way, I like this one. This is the most practical one to me. It makes the most sense. The reason I like it, I don't give a fuck about tanking. Teams will still tank no matter what. But the reason why I like it is because I think it adds parity. Now, part of me feels as though the NBA, it's in love with European soccer. You could tell it really kind of wants to replicate a lot of that stuff, and it wants to be like the USA's version of a European soccer league, now complete with them probably not expanding the NBA to Europe, but having a foothold in Europe. Should they consider getting rid of the draft? That one's crazy, but I mean, we're reaching a point now where it's just like, if you limit a team from picking in the top 4 2 years in a row, what happens if like the 2024 draft happens and you're the Atlanta Hawks and you get the number 1 overall pick and it's Zachary Ricochet, and now you can't get you can't get a top 4 pick the next year? Like, I feel like that could end up with some problems. You really, really cannot. You really cannot fuck up your pick. If you draft a bust, you are in for it. You're in a lot of trouble. But that one does seem the most practical to me. And it's also a little bit more fair, I feel like. I don't know. Locking lottery positions after March 1st. I don't know what that does for you. I don't get that one. What? Won't teams just tank until March 1st? I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a secret. Nobody cares about the NBA in March at all. Okay? You're already done there. Nobody cares. March Madness is going on. Everyone's watching March Madness. We're getting ready for the playoffs. The trade deadline's over. That was a hype time. Now we're just waiting for the playoffs. Okay? So I don't see how that makes sense at all either. So 2 years is too much. 3 years? So you can't get a top 4 pick 3 years in a row? Okay, I get what you're saying. I don't know. That one seems practical to me because it does, like, well, we can't finish with a top 4 pick this year anyway, so we might as well try and be good. But again, it really does. If you get unlucky in the lottery or you get the 4th pick and maybe not a loaded draft, that does kind of suck for you, right? And then what happens if you have multiple lottery picks? Like, let's just say a team has 3 lottery picks. Like, the Thunder could have 3 lottery picks this year. It's not like outside of the realm of possibility they get 3 lottery picks. Then what? You know? None of them can be top 4 or what? Or is it just your specific pick? I don't know. I personally don't think tanking in the NBA is as bad as people think it is. That's it. I think it's overblown. Completely overblown. Okay? So it's kind of my initial opinions there. Again, I really do think it's overblown how bad tanking is. I think the easiest way to fix tanking is to cut down the number of games. Well, 82 just gives you too long of a runway to completely shut down your team, and now you have 30 to 40 games a year that are unwatchable, right? Like that's half the season right there. All right, so that was Adam Silver's hot takes. I want to get into some of y'all's hot takes that you sent me. I asked for you guys on Twitter to give me some of your NBA hot takes that you actually believe, because some people have hot takes and they don't believe them, and I don't want to hear them. Okay, I want you to feel it deep in your bones. I want you to feel it in your chest cavity whenever you see these things and say these things. So my hot take, Cooper's better than AD. That's not necessarily a hot take. That's a freezing cold take, believe it or not. So I do want to go ahead and get into these. Hot take, Slow Hoops fan is the funniest NBA Twitter account. He's pretty hilarious. I do kind of agree with that. I do kind of agree. But let's take a sip of water. tanking pisses off NBA's gambling partners. Here's the thing, though. If you're smart, you can get ahead on tanking. You can make some money off tanking if you're smart with your gambling. They need more games. Yeah, let's go 110 games on the season. Who says no? 110 games. All right, Matt. Should we get into these hot takes?
Man, let's do it.
Let's knock these out the park.
Naughty, slightly naughty, or slightly nice. Matt's Film Room says 32 in Dallas will be the best player in the world one day, partly because of him and partly or slightly because of Wemby's availability.
That one's nice to me. That's going on the nice list. We love Cooper Flagg here. Obviously, I do think he'd be the best player in the world. And when you say that, you have to factor in the Wemby thing. But we haven't seen a healthy season from Victor Wembanyama. And, yeah, I definitely think there's probably a world where Wemby doesn't play 82 games, 65 games. I hope Wemby is healthy and plays. And if Wemby's healthy and playing, he's going to be the best player of all time. I'm just telling you this right now. He's going to be the best basketball player to ever play the sport. Nobody will have the impact on a basketball game that Victor Wembanyama has. But can he play more than 50 games? Right? But, yeah, Cooper Flagg's got the two-way ability to be the best player in the world. Think about it. To be the best player in the world or in those conversations, you have to have some serious two-way ability or be a literal all-time great offensive player like Nikola Jokic, like Luka Doncic a few years ago when I did think he was the best player in the NBA. You either have to be elite on both ends or good enough on one end to justify not being the best in the world on the other end. If you just believe Wemby is going to only play 50 games, the Spurs might as well just trade him for PJ and build around Dylan Harper. Well, I think you could argue, well, we don't give a fuck if he plays 50 games as long as he plays in the playoffs. He can play 50 games all he wants. I don't know. It's interesting. All right, what's next? Let's see.
All right, slightly naughty or slightly nice. Cooper Flagg is already a top 25 player in the league right now.
So top 25 player in the league means he's an all-star, basically. Because I don't know how many people make the all-star rosters, but that seems about right to me. Top 25 player in the league. I'm actually interested to see chat's opinion on this. That's saying a lot. I think some of the top 25 guys are a little bit more consistent game to game than Coop is right now. But if I sat down and really looked at it, I don't know. Maybe. He could be close, for sure. Top 50, easily. Top 40? I'd have to think about who's in my top 40. Like, when I think top 40 players, I think Aaron Gordon, I think OG Anunoby, I think those type of guys. I could definitely see an argument for Coop being better than those guys because of what's being asked of him versus those players who are kind of like elite role players, if that makes sense. Flagg is top 10 in views on socials, so I choose to believe that means he's an all-star. Hey, man. Future face of the league. Christmas Day game, rookie year. Like, future face of the league. That goes without being said. He's ninth in all-star voting? That's actually kind of interesting. Is he going to make the all-star game? No, that'd be crazy, huh? Does he actually have an all-star case? All right, who's next?
Don Era, if that is your real name, another of yours, taking Flagg over Luka to start a franchise.
Okay. Crying, laughing emojis. Oh, this is in reference to something I said on here at our last show, was that I would take Coop over Luka to start a franchise. That was in a little fantasy draft that we did, picking the players we'd start a franchise with. Why is this so crazy? I'm not fully understanding why this was such a controversial opinion, because Cooper Flagg was a very highly touted draft prospect who went number 1 overall, was 18 years old, and has looked fantastic and looks like an elite two-way player. So I don't really understand the controversy here. You have a longer runway. There's, as of right now, no injury concerns. I don't understand why this is, in theory, he's easier to build around, although I'd say the players you want around Coop is the same players you want around Luka. The difference there is, like, obviously Luka's your offensive hub, so you can't have like another primary ball handler guy, whereas with Coop, you probably could go out and get somebody who has the ball in his hands a bunch. But I don't think this is that crazy of an opinion, honestly. Like, am I crazy? Like, obviously I'm going to take Cooper Flagg because I'm a Mavs fan through and through. Like, that's the number one reason. I'm just going to be real with you guys here. But comparing a now 19-year-old to a guy who's about to turn 27, like, there's an 8-year age gap. It's a problematic age gap. there. Like if they were dating, it'd be a problematic age gap. So why is it crazy? If Cooper Flag was the 11th pick, all right. If it's like Cedric Coward, okay, yeah, 100%. 100% I get what you guys are saying. Coop is washed at 19. That's true. It does kind of hit you hard. 19 hits you super hard. Just look at Slightly's GM success on 2K with Flag as a centerpiece. Exactly. We won 12 rings. The winningest franchise in the history of sports. And Asa Newell was the most winning player in the history of the NBA. So come on, guys. Seriously. All right, next up.
Next up, I think we should talk about your 2K teams some more, actually.
It's on Slightly Biased channel. You can go watch. It's documented.
May VP, player standum can be good for the sport and isn't any different than people cheering for an organization. Creates more discourse, including positive and negative in parentheses, and brings more people/eyeballs to the sport. When it comes to negatives and toxicity, it's almost as bad with the teams. Naughty or slightly nice.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Like, I obviously have an interesting relationship with standums. I think they are annoying overall just because it's impossible to change anybody's minds when they're so locked into a certain player. But at the same time, the NBA is such a superstar-driven sport that it's like, yeah, of course there's stands. It's not, it's the number one superstar-driven sport. Like, one player can lead a team. If you don't have a superstar, you're not winning. So it's also the most, I would say personal sport. They're not wearing masks. They're not wearing helmets. Like, these guys. So it makes sense that the NBA has the strong standums that they have. And I'm excited for the Cooper Flag standum to really take shape. Right now, there is none, at least none that I've seen. But they will come 100%. And yeah, obviously it's annoying, like, sitting here trying to talk about it and I say something and then people get upset. But it is what it is. I don't know if I would say it's good for the sport. But now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, I guess. Because, it's what the league wants. It's a highlight-driven league. It markets its stars. It doesn't market its teams. The NFL markets its teams. The MLB markets its regions. Like, the NBA markets its superstars. So that's the way they want it to market, and it works, and that's that. Cooper fans, stand back and stand by. That's right. We have not unleashed the Cooper Flag standum just yet. No way team fandom anywhere near as toxic as player stands. I mean, I guess it could be towards other teams, right? Like, player stands are obviously the most toxic individuals. It goes, it's true, Slightly stands are not as toxic. Like, Luka fans are, for most part, most of them are cool. The ones that hang out in here are cool for sure. But yes, Luka stands can be toxic. Kyrie stands can be toxic. LeBron stands can be toxic. We see this play out. Kobe stands can be toxic. It's just, you can't change their minds. They're so dug in. They're not gonna wake up one day and be like, you know what? Yeah, you are right. He could have played better defense last night. Like, obviously, they're not gonna do that. So Westbrook stands, absolutely. So yeah, I would say there's no way the team fans are more toxic, except when it's like two other teams. Does that make sense? We need to start pushing some Coop propaganda on Truth Social. Does Haymaker have a Truth Social account?
Add it to the queue.
Yeah, add that one to the queue. We need to get over there. Next one up.
I thought this show was our True Social account. Morris out. Luka Doncic has never been a top 4 player in basketball, including a lowercase d on that Doncic.
Disrespectful.
That feels very naughty from Mr. Morris out, but I'm not the judge here. Slightly naughty or slightly nice.
Here we go. Now, I will say this. Mavs fans, please listen to me. Relax. I noticed a lot of these on here. Mavs fans started to poke their chest out a little bit. Coop feels great. Coop looks great. Feels great having him on the team. Luka has been having an interesting season. Let's relax, okay? Don't need to be poking our chest out, okay? It just comes off a certain way. And I'm not sure what this guy's deal is, to be fair. I don't know if it's a Mavs fan or a Kyrie fan or whatever the case may be. But no, this is obviously – Luka has never been a top 4 player in the league. I mean, what? How can you even realistically argue this with a serious face? If you want to say this year maybe he's not top 4 this year, I would even say who the fuck would be 4th? Like, if you want to say it's been – hey, it's Jokic and Shea and Giannis when he plays are the top 3. Okay. Or maybe you want to say Wemby, I guess. I can't get behind even Luka maybe not being a top 4 player this year. But yeah, what's the argument for the 23-24 season? when, in my opinion, he was the best player in the league up until he hurt his knee in like March or whenever that was, into February, March. I don't know how you could argue that. He's made, 5 first-team All-NBAs? There's literally no argument for him not being a top 4 player. Because then you're insinuating what? Tatum was better? There's never been an argument for that. Never been an argument. This has been a consensus top 4 guy at the very least for 5 years. He's averaging 35, 9, and 9. Is that his averages this year? Is that really what he's averaging on the season? That's actually insane if that's true. And it's crazy because Luka's just going to be a endless counting stat guy. Like he puts up crazy numbers. It's the worst 35.99 of all time. Well, is it the only 35.99? Like it might be the only 35.99 of all time. So it might be the worst and the best ever by that logic. But no, I can't get behind this. Never been a top 4 player. I mean, come on. What could even be the argument for that? Man, these are all. Well, this guy, LBO Luka. Even though I love him, Luka will never win an MVP or a championship. Jesus Christ, we're really going hard here. Luka will get an MVP almost certainly. I get the whole like Jokic and Shea right now. I understand that. Wemby. I can't confidently say Wemby's going to rack up 65 games played. They'd have to change that rule. And even then, I don't know. But the stats he puts up, he'll have a year. It might be a Kobe situation where he wins 1. Like, it might be like that. It just was this weird era where it never aligned for him. He's too old. He's 26. What do you mean? Jokic, Giannis, and LeBron were top 3 most of Luka's career. LeBron? Championship, I don't know. That's a little bit more difficult. This Lakers roster, I'd say, is a ways away, but they've got cap space and they're the Lakers, dude. They'll get somebody. I promise you they'll get somebody. I don't know if it's going to be Giannis, but they always do. So I think definitively it's too difficult to say. I do think he'll win an MVP for sure. I do think he'll win an MVP at some point in time. Like the stars will align for him. When you're putting up seasons where you're 35, 9, and 9, right? Like, okay, his exact averages this year, 34.1, 8.6, 8.8. When you're consistently putting up those stat lines on good efficiency numbers, like obviously relative to Jokic and Shea right now, they're not that great, but those stats on that efficiency he has, around 60% true shooting, that's incredible. That will win you MVP a lot of the time, especially considering the Lakers' record's good. Like, he'll get one at some point. It might be a weird year when he does. Like, it's going to have to either be the Nuggets are terrible and Jokic is hurt or something, knock on wood, or I don't know, Shea's hurt. I don't know, because it'll get there. It'll happen for him at some point. All right, what was this one? Oh, man. Really poking our chest out. Unbelievable.
Luka is the most underrated and underappreciated superstar in basketball, as evidenced by many replies to this tweet calling him overrated. Never was a top 5 player, etc., says Stu, which calls attention to himself. Is he naughty or nice?
So one of my long-standing beliefs is nobody's underrated or overrated because everybody is both at the same exact time online, right? I do agree. Some of the like harsh criticisms of Luka this year have been a little bit crazy. Now, would I say he's the most underrated or underappreciated? I don't know how much I'd say that. I mean, he's 5-time All-NBA first team, right? So that is appreciation right there. I do think he should have won the MVP a couple years ago. And I think part of what happened that year was this kind of belief across the league where it's like, yeah, but we didn't give Jokic the one last year and he probably deserved it. Let's just be real. So we got to go back and do it. But Luka will get his. Like, I think that was part of it. Was it's like, yeah, well, Luka's going to get one at some point. So like we'll make right by Jokic and give him the one that he probably should have won last year over Embiid. And we'll do right by Jokic and Luka will get his eventually. Because all of the Luka stats that year were just absolutely insane. How incredible that run was in December when everybody was injured and Luka was putting up crazy stats and keeping the season alive for the Mavericks. So I do kind of agree in that line of thinking, a little underappreciated, especially considering how insane the media reaction was to that 70-plus point game he had, for sure. Now, I don't know. There's some Twitter trolls, definitely, but like, whatever. Who really gives a shit about them? All right, next. Are we staying on the Luka trade or not?
Upper 90 degrees. The NBA rigs trades for obvious reasons and gives teams a secret coupon, single quote, of some kind to cash in when they want. I don't think this coupon always guarantees a first pick. It just guarantees some type of improvement in the draft order. Naughty or nice? For the topic that's age old.
I do think the NBA has rigged some stuff in the past, but I don't think they rig trades. I mean, think about it. I'm going to presume a lot of this has to do with the recent trade. Maybe the Mavs still have a coupon left. Though it'd be interesting to see if they redeem that coupon this summer. I hope so. I hope they redeem it if it's true. But I don't think the NBA rigs trades. Because what would have been we're going to rig it for the Mavs. If that were the case, Nico wouldn't have gotten fired, right? Like, it would have been like, no, don't worry. This was all according to plan. Like, it all went according to our plan. And Nico might feel that way. But clearly everyone else didn't. Clearly everyone. It's true. The Spurs just have a lifetime supply of coupons. I don't know how they lucked into that one. We'll see. Do they have a lottery pick this year? Do they have somebody's pick? Who knows? They might move their way on up again. They do. Whose lottery pick do they have? Hawks. They have the Hawks pick? Great. They have Atlanta's pick. Oh, great. Yeah. Can't wait to see that one fly up. All right, what's next? Lakers Agit prop. Oh, that's a great username.
None of the following are getting traded this season. Giannis, AD, Ja, Trey, Melo, Zion, Harden, Kawhi, LeBron, Murphy III, and Aaron Wiggins. Naughty or nice?
Aaron Wiggins? The hell's he doing in that list of people? Aaron Wiggins? Or did he beat Andrew Wiggins, I wonder? Or just a hilarious Aaron Wiggins inclusion? Okay, Giannis, AD, Ja, Trey, Melo, Zion, Harden, Kawhi, LeBron, Trey Murphy. I mean, I'm just gonna take my odds and say at least one of those guys is gonna get traded. Who out of this list though? I don't know. Giannis would not surprise me at all if he's not traded. AD, I actually highly doubt AD's traded, believe it or not, between now and the trade deadline. Ja, Trey, or Melo, I feel like one of those guys is gonna get traded. Which one of those three? I don't know. But it's one of those guys has to get traded this year. My guess would be Trey. But I don't know what that looks like. It could be the Hawks making a big-time trade for somebody else and Trey's contract just being in there. Oh, you're Lakers agitprop and you did meet Andrew Wiggins. All right, thank you for the clarification because that was pretty funny seeing Aaron Wiggins' name pop up there. Zion, gamed the Mavericks last night. No two ways around it. He looked incredible. He looks good physically. He's been coming off the bench since coming back from an injury. Obviously, they have their own direction they're going now with Derek Queen and Jeremiah Fears and Herb Jones, Trey Murphy. Like, these guys have been one of the best starting units in the league with Zion coming off the bench. If a Zion trade was out there, I think they would do it. Like, here's the reason why I say I think one of these guys are gonna demand a trade or get traded. One of the big reasons is if a team for whatever reason decided, you know what, we could take on Ja, we could take on Trey, we could take on LaMelo, we could take on Zion. I think the team that those guys are on would do it in a heartbeat. So that's sort of why I think at least one of those guys is going to get traded. Because if there is a market out there, they will be gone. Like, that's it. Kawhi. So this is in the hot take I had on my post, which I 100% do believe, is that Kawhi could be the number one prize of the trade deadline. I don't know how crazy his market's going to be. The Clippers are down and out. There's no two ways around it. They're not coming back. Zubats is hurt now, and he's going to miss a few weeks. Like, it's curtains for them. They really stand next to no chance of maybe even making the play-in tournament at this rate. And they owe no obligation to anybody to compete. If a team wants to make a trade for Kawhi Leonard, they should do it. Actually, let me hold off on that because I know there's some other ones that are in relation to what I said. Aaron Wiggins? No. Andrew Wiggins, again, I feel like Andrew Wiggins is kind of similar to Trey, where it's like, if the Heat make a big trade, I'm assuming Wiggins' contract is probably included, which could very well happen. Trey Murphy, yeah, I'm assuming the Hawks probably hold on to him. Or, I'm sorry, the Pelicans. LeBron, yeah, no chance in hell LeBron's getting traded. LeBron has a better chance of getting bought out than he does getting traded, and I don't see either of those scenarios happening. Harden? What's Harden's best team, trade-wise? Because I could get there. I've seen Houston, but does he kind of take them out of what they do a little too much? Mavs? Yeah, hell yeah. Sign me up, man. Sign me up. Honestly, though? Wait, hold on. I've never actually really thought about it. So what, AD for Harden?
Yeah, you fixed it. Way to go.
Okay. Harden, Kyrie, and Coop. All right, yeah, I'm bought in. Let's do it. Timberwolves, how do they get there contractually? I like that. Is that possible? AD for Embiid. Hell yeah. Next one is this is going to be like a little trade segment here. All of these are trade related.
David Mason, future draft picks are grossly overvalued. Player development is grossly undervalued.
I like this.
You're nice.
I like this. This is nice. I like this because I think by fans, for sure, picks are a little bit overvalued. I think across the league, I don't know how overvalued they are. I think teams view them as currency more often than not, where like we got this to trade and this to trade. When teams have like 5 first-round picks, unless you're the Brooklyn Nets, most of those teams are like, okay, we can package these things together to go out and get this or whatever the case may be. I do agree, though, that player development is grossly undervalued. Grossly undervalued. And again, I don't know if it's by teams or player or fans, whatever the case may be, because you look around the league and you got the Thunder, who have developed how many second-round guys or late-round pick guys that have turned into fantastic rotation pieces for them. The Grizzlies, who just churn out these second-round picks and undrafted guys. It feels like at least one a year is coming through and putting up good minutes for them and becoming rotation players. So I do agree. Yeah, only one top 10 pick on the Thunder. That's actually crazy. One top 10 pick, and it's Chet, right? You had Shea, which is just kind of a once-in-a-blue moon thing. J-Dub, good development there. And then just down the line, man, like A.J. Mitchell. They got Hartenstein, obviously, but was Hartenstein undrafted? Honestly, I kind of think he was. Caruso, obviously undrafted. Like, all of these dudes developed elsewhere, to be fair, but didn't the Mavs try their darndest to develop guys like Josh Green and Hardy? Yeah, what I think the Mavs should do draft-wise moving forward is they need to not get too caught up in age or drafting the super young guy with high upside. I want them to focus on getting good players who are good performers in college and can dribble the basketball. I don't want to watch these guys who can't dribble the basketball for 4 years try to figure out how to dribble a basketball. Like, I'm done with these type of players. It's cool that one in every 15 of them develop into something, but let's just get solid two-way guys who, yeah, maybe they're closer to their ceiling right now than a lot of these other younger prospects, but usually the type of guys you want around Cooper Flag moving forward. So that's I haven't looked into this draft really at all, so I don't know who those guys are, but that's it. I do 100% agree with you, though. The player development is grossly undervalued across the league. Okay. What's up next?
Roz. What teams do you see Kawhi helping overcome the Knicks or OKC?
Okay, so this is what I was talking about. My main tweet, I said that I think Kawhi could be the prize of the deadline. You're telling me right now, if the Pistons replaced Tobias Harris with Kawhi Leonard, that doesn't put them in at least the same exact conversation with the New York Knicks. The Pistons have the best record in the East still, I think. It might not be the case anymore. I think they still are the 1 seed in the East. I don't think they're on the level of the Knicks in terms of playoffs, in terms of championship contention, just because I worry about them not having a second creator or a guy next to Cade who can realistically and consistently create their own offense. You're telling me if you replace Tobias Harris with Kawhi Leonard, they're not a much better basketball team? Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. So the thing with Kawhi is he's got his contract this year and then $50 million next year, and that's it. So you're not like breaking the bank. You're not committing 5 years to the dude. I can't imagine his price would be all that high. Why would LA do that, though? I mean, if the Clippers can get out of Kawhi and get maybe a young guy, maybe you can get Jaden Ivey or something in a trade in a pick, is that not pretty good? You know, like, what's their plan with him? He's got this lingering investigation hanging over him, and what are they going to pay him realistically? You know what I mean? It could be worth it for them just to salvage something out of it. And I think there are several teams in the East that could benefit greatly from a Kawhi Leonard. But I do think Detroit. I mean, if Detroit's going to make a trade, I love that. It doesn't cripple them long-term financially. They don't have to, like, go crazy with the draft assets, I think it makes them a much better basketball team. I would seriously consider doing that if I were them. And I think that would make them pretty close to the Knicks at the very least in terms of championship contention or conference finals contention. I don't know about the Thunder, to be honest with you. What's up next? Oh, here, I'll just...
Eric.
The league won't allow the Clippers to trade Kawhi. That would be pretty funny, huh? If the league stepped in, it was just like, you guys can't take this season, Clippers. I'm sorry. You guys cannot give up on this season just yet. We cannot give the Oklahoma City Thunder a top 5 pick in this upcoming draft. You guys will ride this shit out no matter what. But the league would absolutely allow them to. But that is pretty hilarious to think. Pretty hilarious. If I'm an upcoming team, I would never trade for someone older than 26. Massive mistake. Rockets will learn that lesson this postseason. Why, though? I think I would understand if it's like, I'm trading for this older man, and now I'm paying him, and I'm committing to paying him for 5 years. Right? Okay, I agree. Or if the thing with the Rockets is they had such a surplus of picks and young guys that it didn't really matter to them. They didn't cut into rotation pieces that they need or draft picks that they need. They just had this luxury of doing it. The Pistons, they don't have like a treasure chest of picks, but they do have some young guys on their team that just aren't. I mean, just watch them play. They're not long term. Like, this guy's gonna be our reliable number 2 next to Cade for the next 10 years. They don't have that guy right now, at least not offensively, right? So I think it would kind of make some sense for them as long as they understand I'm not cutting into this long term. I mean, the Bucks did it with Drew and it worked and they won a championship. Drew was younger than Kawhi is now. Like, I'm just trying to think of recent history of teams trading for guys that are older than 26. People get so attached to young players that most of the time just end up being negative assets. Yeah, I mean, I agree. Like, if I could trade Jay Ivey and a pick and a contract for Kawhi Leonard, I would do it if I were the Pistons. I would. What am I waiting on? Like, what exactly am I waiting for Tatum and Tyrese Halliburton to come back next year? Like, this is a golden opportunity for me. Just something to think about. All right, what's next?
I like this one. St. Allen, Queen is going to be the next Jokic. And in 10 years, we'll look back and say, you do that trade every time.
So I go back and forth on this trade a lot, where it's like, yeah, but the process was really bad. And I do agree the process was quite terrible. But, and then because of that, people say, well, there's no justifying it long term. There's no justifying like the Luka trade long term because there's already well established. You don't trade a superstar. And if you do trade a superstar, you get 7 picks, 5 picks, swaps. You get a half decade worth of a team's draft. Like, that's already established. Trading draft picks is a little bit more interesting because, you know, you never know what happens in the draft. And it's so easy to go back in hindsight and just be like, yeah, that worked out because that pick ended up becoming some scrub. Like, think about this. The Mavs traded their first round pick the following year to move up in the draft to get Luka Doncic. Did it work out? Obviously, it worked out. Okay. How would we feel about that trade today, though, if for whatever reason Luka didn't really pan out and Trey became an All-NBA? Trey was the current player he was, and Cam Reddish became like an all-star, a fringe all-star player. Would we look back on that and be like, no, that was actually a terrible trade? So I don't know. I do sort of feel like new DVT, brother. Oh, no. Who has DVT? Who is it? Cam Whitmore? No. Washington Wizards forward Cam Whitmore is out indefinitely after being diagnosed with upper extremity deep vein thrombosis in his right shoulder. Another DVT brother added to the list. Get well soon, Cam Whitmore. Thankfully, they found it when they did. So Wemby's DVT was a shoulder one as well, and I was actually reading something that the shoulder ones are much less dangerous, I guess is the right way to put it, than the calf ones because it's just far more unlikely that they travel to your heart or your lungs or whatever, where that can become a real big problem. What is up with that? I don't know. A lot of DVT lately. I really don't know. I think my guess is, and I was talking about this with my orthopedic doctor whenever I got DVT, my guess is they kind of know to look for it now because the whole thing behind it is deep vein thrombosis. It's not as easily findable as just like a standard blood clot. So, yeah, I think they're getting better at finding it, but they're also understanding like, oh, back in the day, these like symptoms weren't something that we would check for a deep vein thrombosis for. But now we kind of know that, okay, it feels like you have a sprain and we don't see that you have like a calf strain. Let's check for this. Would be my guess. Usually it's not a bad thing. If more of it comes to light, could be a bit of both. Yeah. I mean, who knows? Scary to think people are just walking around with clots like that. Yeah, it is a scary thing. It is like, it's not as, I know people blame COVID and the vaccine, and there's some numbers that show like after COVID that they went up. That's like a real thing. That's like a real thing for sure. But yeah, the Queen's going to be better than Jokic. Get well soon, Cam Whitmore. If I could do it, you could do it. Queen is going to be the next Jokic, and in 10 years, look back and say you do that trade every time. Yeah, the process is the process, guys. If Queen ends up becoming an All-NBA guy and Fears is really good, yeah, you could justify the trade. I think I agree with that. I think I agree with that. We could easily forget the trade. I mean, if the Hawks get the 8th pick in the draft, like then what? It's not as fun anymore. It's not as fun anymore. We actually have a lot of Jokic ones here. We're going to fly through the rest of these.
Garen, Lafon, Nikola Jokic is maybe the best player in the world, but is overrated all at the same time. Naughty or nice? This
is one of my favorite ones I saw. Now, I did say nobody's overrated, nobody's underrated. Everybody's perfectly rated. Everybody's both overrated and underrated at the same time on Twitter. Everyone hates everybody. Everyone loves everybody. But this is kind of an interesting one. I do kind of agree overrated might be the wrong word to use, but more the people who are planting their flag like Jokic is far and away the best player in the NBA and nobody's even really close. It's just not true. Like Shea is absolutely close. In fact, there's an argument that Shea is the best player in the NBA. A couple years ago, I thought Luka was the best player in the NBA. So this idea that Jokic is just, you can't even make an argument that he's not the best player in the NBA, I disagree with. I do think defense has to factor into the equation at some point. And I absolutely do think, I don't care what you see your local Nuggets fans say, Jokic is absolutely atrocious on defense most of the time. Most of the time. Not all the time. Sometimes he locks in. Most of the time, he's really bad. So I do think there's arguments for other guys. But I agree with this take ultimately, though. That, yeah, you'd probably call him the best player in the world. But maybe at the same time, is it a little much sometimes? God, with this Shea takes. Don't worry, there's more Thunder takes down the line. What's next? A lot of Nuggets ones, huh?
Eagland, the 2023 Nuggets were a worse team than the 2024 Mavs. They were just lucky enough to go against an entire playoff run of teams worse than the 2024 Mavs went against.
So this is actually a pretty a thing I hear a bunch. People say this exact thing. The reality is winning a title takes a good amount of luck. It takes injury luck. Obviously, your team needs to be healthy. Usually it sort of shakes up for these teams. You go back to the history of these titles, it just, the healthiest team almost always seems to win. Like the Thunder last year, were they the best team in the league? Yeah, they were, right? But Aaron Gordon had his hamstring injury that clearly bothered him in that Game 7. Michael Porter Jr. could barely lift his arm above his head in that series. Then you play the Pacers, and Tyrese Halliburton obviously tears his Achilles. Like, could the Thunder have won? Yeah, they could have won anyways, and they probably would have won anyways. But they still got a little bit lucky. The Mavericks, did they get lucky in their title run? No, they pretty much had to get it out the mud through their entire one, right? Like the Clippers, I'm talking about a couple years ago. Like the 2011 run, it is what it is. Everybody knows how remarkable that one was. And that one, it does kind of stand alone when you go back and you look at, every team they played was incredible and healthy? Oh, okay, great. The Mavs, a couple years ago, the Clippers, that was some of the healthiest they've been. Right? Just weren't that great of a team. The Mavs took care of business. The Thunder, they were the baby Thunder, so I guess maybe you could say the Mavs were lucky there, but still, that Thunder team was the number one team in the conference that year by a record. And then the Timberwolves that year were relatively healthy. Like, I can't remember any injuries they had, so they had to get it out the mud, and then the Celtics got lucky that postseason as well, right? They got lucky playing a beat-up Eastern Conference, and then the Mavericks, by the time they got to the finals, like Luka was just dealing with so many different injuries at that point. Wasn't Lively dealing with stuff? Lively got hurt in that Timberwolves series. Like, yeah, it requires some luck. And that 2023 Nuggets team, if memory serves me correctly, wasn't that the easiest by seeding championship of all time because they played the 8th seed Heat in the finals, the Lakers in the conference finals, which weren't they the 7th seed at the time? But yeah, I mean, I don't know. That 2023 Nuggets team was fantastic. Like Jokic and Jamal, unbelievable 2-man game. It was impeccable. Bruce Brown was awesome that year. I kind of feel like that team could beat the Mavs. Like I think if those two teams met, 2023 Nuggets and 2024 Mavs, it'd be a fun series. But I do think the Nuggets ultimately probably would have won because I just think Jokic gave those Mavs teams, I guess I should say, because it's a completely different team now, absolute hell. All right, more Nuggets talk, huh? Just a bunch of Nuggets.
The Nuggets have the best big three in the league right now, Jokic, Murray, Gordon. They complement each other so well while all being at an all-star level or better. Naughty or nice?
Best big three in the NBA. Yeah, I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I mean, obviously you have Shea, J-Dub, and Chet, which I would say, all in all, those three probably rate higher. Like if you were to combine their top 100 ratings, I think that those three are all better. But I mean, yeah, how can you deny how well those three all play off each other, Jokic, Murray, and Gordon? It for sure is the best big three in the NBA, I would say, just in terms of their fit and how they complement each other. It's what makes them so lethal. It's what makes them a legitimate title contender. I know you guys know that I've said I think the Thunder are the best team. I think it'd be a miracle if the Thunder don't win. The Nuggets are by far the second best team in the league, and they got a real case, and it's because of Jokic, Jamal Murray. That 2-man game is so lethal. And when Aaron Gordon's shooting 40+% from three and cutting and getting catch and shoot opportunities off Jokic and so good defensively, yeah, they've got a chance to beat anybody for sure. So I actually agree with that. I think they are the best big three in the NBA. Is there even an argument for anyone else, right? You don't agree with what? The big three or what? The Thunder being the best? 25 Nuggets playoff opponents, best record was 45 wins. Was that a shortened year? No, it wasn't. That's actually crazy. That's actually crazy. European NBA enjoyer. Here we go.
The Cavs turn it around and go to at least the conference finals. Naughty or nice?
Yeah, I'm going to say naughty. That team feels a little bit cooked to me. I will say this. I've tossed this around a little bit. Does this not make the most sense in the world? AD to the Cavs in the summer. AD to the Cavs in the summer. The Cavs got to break up this core. Jared Allen goes elsewhere. Maybe the Mavs get Darius Garland, who wants to be the lead guard on a team. AD to Cleveland. LeBron, mid-level, Cleveland. So you got Donovan Mitchell, LeBron James, AD, Mobley as sort of their core four going into next year. It makes a lot of sense to me. It really does, and I could see it happening 1,000,000%. A reason why I don't really buy into this Cavs team right now is Darius Garland. I don't know what to expect from him ever. He's low-key one of the most injury-prone players in the league, and not because he misses games, but because he's always playing with something. A couple years ago, he had the jaw. It was like, well, his equilibrium's actually fucked up because his jaw. And that sounds like an excuse, but then it was, all doctors were like, yeah, he's got a broken jaw. Like, he's probably having a hard time balancing. It's like, what? That's insane. Then last year, he was healthy and all-star, and their offense was incredible. This year, he's got the toe problem that's been lingering, and they're bad. They're just a mediocre-ass team. They have been incredibly injured, right? They've been very, very injured. Mobley's been out with the calf strain, but beyond that, like Strus hasn't played at all this year. Lonzo's really kind of sucked, but they've got a bunch of injuries to a bunch of their rotation guys. But still, yeah, I don't know. They've dug themselves quite a deep hole. A lot of Eastern Conference takes here. Ooh, I'm excited about this one.
Braxton Reynolds, if Banchero does not drastically improve his efficiency and his fit with Wagner, still looks shaky at the end of next season, then Orlando should at least explore Banchero's trade market in the 2027 offseason for a better long-term star next to Wagner, Bane, and Suggs. Naughty or nice?
I'm actually going to go nice here. And as a big-time Paolo believer, at least entering the season, it's kind of hard to deny something like this. Last night, they lost to the Warriors, just got spanked in the fourth quarter. If you didn't know any better, and Paolo obviously had an injury that, you know, he's still kind of recovering from and coming back from. But if you really didn't know any better and you're just watching these Orlando games, I mean, you would think Paolo's like their fourth best player. Like, seriously. Not Mo Wagner. That would be something else. Franz Wagner looks like their best player. And then night to night, like Bane could look better. Suggs could look better. Anthony Black looks better at times. yeah, man. Paolo has just been very disappointing and underwhelming. And sure, if you kind of flame out in this postseason or whatever, I could see a world where Orlando kind of looks at their situation and says, man, we got a lot of money tied up with this young core that we're not even really convinced in. And we're a little bit concerned about some Paolo stuff. So maybe we get ahead. Maybe we trade him to a team that, maybe like Brooklyn. It's like, dude, we can get Paolo? Like, holy fuck, that'd be incredible. Like, yeah, we'll give up a bunch. Maybe that makes some sense for him. I highly doubt it, though. You got to remember these teams, they treat these players like they're children, right? Like, they drafted him number 1 overall. He's supposed to be the face of the franchise. I think in a lot of ways he still is the face of the franchise. He's the most popular player there. Like, it's a Nico Harrison level event has to happen for those guys to get traded, and there's a reason why it's really never happened besides that one singular time. So, yeah, a few more. I'm just going to power through these, Matt, because I know we gotta get out of here. Celtics are the scariest team in the East and should be in the favorites to take it out, especially with Tatum possibly coming back this year. I love this take. I think the Knicks are still, to me, the clear-cut favorites in the East, but I think right now I'd have Boston number 2. They do look fantastic. Jaylen Brown's look great. Derek White had a slow start to the year, but he's been playing fantastic lately. And, dude, Hugo Gonzalez is the real deal Holyfield, man. I watched that game back last night. They beat Indiana. Indiana had a 20-point lead for most of the game. Hugo Gonzalez plays the entire second half. It was a plus 26 in the second half alone. Just completely unstoppable defensively. I do worry about Keita in a playoff setting. I can't help but feel that way. So if they were to go out and figure out a way to get a center at the trade deadline, their name's kind of been tied to Zubats. That'd be incredible. And Tatum comes back. Yeah, man, that's a really good team. And I think that's probably the second best team in the Eastern Conference, which is kind of crazy to say. Yeah, Jaylen Brown's been awesome. Tatum not coming back? No, I think the way that they've been playing lately, I think he absolutely has a chance to come back. I'd agree with you if it was like their team was trash, but Isaac, friend of the channel, Trae Young is still a great player, and if traded to the right team like Houston, Minnesota, or Orlando, who could help hide his defensive shortcomings, could be the difference. They need to get to the finals. Trae Young fan club, Trae Young defenders, stand down and stand by. It's probably over. The thing with Trae that I finally have come to grips with, it's one thing to be bad defensively, and you can hide Luka. The thing with Luka is he's a massive human being. So, and that's not a weight joke. Like, he's tall and strong. Like, he can play well defensively, well enough at times to where, like, yeah, you hide him because you don't want him defending actions all the time because he does everything for you offensively, but you hide him, but he can still kind of contribute defensively. Trae's terrible. I mean, Trae's like the worst defensive player in the league. So, I don't know. Historically, it's easier to hide small guards than it is to hide a wing defender. I think there's a reason, historically speaking, small guards like this never win. Never win. Because it's one thing to win a bunch of regular season games. It's another thing when you're getting to a playoff series and deep, and now you're going up against elite teams with elite offenses that are well coached and have great offensive engines, and those guys are going to go at you every single time, and they're smart about how they go about it. Yeah, I'm kind of getting to the point where it'd be a little bit of a surprise to me if Trae was ever the main guy on a team that made the finals. Small guards have won. Slow-footed wings haven't. I mean, what's the history of small guards winning like that? What exactly is the history of it? Steph was much better defensively. Steph was much better defensively than Trae Young was. You got to go back to like Isaiah Thomas, who was also a great defensive player. Kyrie's just much better defensively than Kyrie and Fisher and Jamal Murray. Like, Trae Young's literally like 6 feet. He's small. And all those guys you mentioned are better defenders than Trae. Like, it's like a gap. I'd agree with you if I thought Trae was like, well, Trae competes defensively a lot, but he doesn't. Oh, I love this take right here. I love this. This one is not just slightly nice. It's very nice. Hornets can be a top 6 team in the East next year. You guys know me. You guys know my love for the Hornets. Now, fortunately, I was off the Hornets train this year. It does appear that they'll be outside of the play-in tournament looking in. Although, I don't know. They can maybe go on a sneaky play-in run. But absolutely, that team could be a top 6 in the East next year. Why on earth couldn't they? I mean, could you say anybody definitively couldn't be top 6 in the Eastern Conference year to year? Right? Like anybody? I don't know. So they could for sure make some moves and make it happen. All right, one more. Let's see. Which one do I want to get to here? OKC. You guys want some OKC ones? Oh, no. Let's end with this one, huh? Let's end with a Shea Gilgeous-Alexander one, shall we? If SGA gets another ring this year, 70-plus wins, MVP, Finals MVP, he's going to be top 30 all-time already without a doubt. If he tacks on a few more 30-point-per-game seasons at his insane efficiency, he'll work himself into top 20 pretty quickly. So interesting. I went and I looked. Top 30. Only 15 guys in the history of the league have won multiple MVPs, right? So it's pretty rare that it's happened. Out of this list, most of them have won multiple rings, but then you do have guys like Jokic. Obviously, still plenty of time for Jokic to win another ring. Giannis, who knows where he goes. Karl Malone never won a ring, obviously. Nash never won a ring. I think Pettit has one. Moses Malone has one. So if you have multiple, no, I did not send that question on my burner, guys. That's not my burner. If you got multiple MVPs and multiple Finals MVPs, that already puts you in very, very rarefied air. That, yeah, I think top 30, how could you really argue against it unless you're like a big-time longevity guy, in which case I'd agree with you. I mean, I think if you win an MVP, just on principle, how many MVP winners have we had in the history of the league? Like, you could probably make a Shea top 30 argument right now if you really wanted to, but I get the longevity guys, and I wouldn't argue against that. That's actually my next thing is I want to develop. Maybe I'll do that over this Christmas break. Should I develop a top 50 list all time? I've never done it. I'm horrible at it. Maybe that's my next little project. But that's going to wrap it up for the show today. Christmas time, it's holidays. We've got people to hang out with. Well, not me, but other people have people to hang out with and go see. I've got nothing to do, really. I'm going to be live later tonight talking to you guys. So, yeah. It should be a top 37 list. Oh, shit. Yeah, maybe. Maybe a top 37 list. So, anyways, thank you guys for coming out. Thank you guys for watching. If you haven't liked the stream yet, make sure you do so. Helps out. Lets YouTube know you guys like the content. Lets us know you like the content. We're going to be coming with some big stuff once the holidays are over and done with. I'll be live tonight to go over to watch the Mavs game. So I'm happy about that. No, I'm not. Actually, I'm fucking miserable about it, truth be told. Wow. B-Dot's angry. I didn't get to. B-Dot had the most standard. B-Dot, what was your hot take? Yeah, Cooper Flagg's a great player. Like, yeah, bro. Well, we already did it. I did that one like basically 20 times. Let's see. I'm pulling up B-Dots. Wemby will never win MVP or Defensive Player of the Year due to minimum games played. Oh. I disagree. There you go. I did B-Dots. Everyone clap it up. Thank you all for tuning in. These are available on audio form on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Search up The Slightly Biased Show and you will find it there. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the Haymaker Network. Have a good Christmas, guys. Seriously. I will be live on my channel to watch the Mavs Nuggets tonight, unfortunately. But stay safe. Hey, and if you're feeling alone this Christmas season, I know there's a lot of people out there that live far away from their family, or maybe for one reason or another, they don't have family. I'm here for you. You've got family in me. I love you. We're all together. I know it can be hard, but we're going to get through it one day at a time. All right, you and me. Thank you all for coming out. Round of applause. Love you all. Let's hit that outro.